Hello there, and thanks so much for checking out this video tutorial. I'm Chris from Tech Coaches, here with my colleagues from the Brain Injury Association of Waterloo-Wellington to share some information intended to help you understand technology a little bit more. In this tutorial, we're going to be exploring the concept of the cloud and how we use it to synchronize and make backups with our data. Plus, we also want to talk about automatically backing up our photographs and videos. If you're ready to explore the basics so that you can master them, let's get into it. To begin very simply, you can think about the cloud just like it's the internet. The cloud equals the internet, and the internet equals the cloud. So when somebody says to you, I'm storing my photographs in the cloud, what they're saying is they're storing their photographs somewhere on the internet. And in this illustration, you can see that a variety of different devices that one person owns could be connecting to the same cloud because it is indeed the same internet. So starting on the left, you could have a smartphone or a desktop computer, a tablet, a laptop, or even a smart refrigerator with a screen on the door that you can review your photos and your videos, or maybe even do a Google search for a recipe. All of these devices with connection to Wi-Fi would be able to connect to the internet. And the two-way arrows that you can see going out of each one of those devices to the cloud would indicate the process of uploading and downloading information. So, if you wanted to add something to the cloud, you would go through the process called uploading. And if you wanted to copy something from the cloud or from the internet onto one of your devices, the process is called downloading. And this is a two-way street from all of the devices that you might have in your life. This not only allows you to synchronize the same information on multiple devices, but it also allows you to move things from a device onto the cloud. There are two ways that an average user typically uses the cloud. The first is referred to as cloud computing. This involves any of the websites or apps that you've probably been using for the duration of your experiences using technology. For example, if you have a web-based email like Outlook.com or Gmail, this is available only in the cloud. That means on the internet. So without a connection to Wi-Fi or Ethernet, hardwired internet, you would not be able to access any of that webmail. Another example would be Netflix or YouTube. All of the videos are stored in the cloud. And when we want to watch one of them, we can do what's called streaming, which would play a video as it downloads from the cloud. Also, our search engines like Google and Bing, our online banking and social networking, our online map navigation, all of this involves cloud computing. Without having access to the internet, maybe it's Wi-Fi, maybe it's data while you're using your phone, without this access to online activity, none of these tools would work. The second way that average people use the cloud is something called cloud storage apps. Many of the big tech companies that we're familiar with, like Apple, Microsoft, and Google, offer customers the opportunity to store some of their digital files on the computer systems at these companies. This is what we would call cloud storage. Whenever you use one of the company's apps, for instance, iCloud, OneDrive, or Google Drive, to name a few, you are storing your files somewhere on the internet. And if you don't have access to something like Wi-Fi or data on your smartphone, then you won't be able to access these files. Each company gives us a little bit of cloud storage for free. As an example, Apple iCloud provides you with 5 gigabytes, Microsoft OneDrive provides you with 5 gigabytes, and Google Drive provides you with 15 gigabytes. Once a user starts to use most of the space, these apps would typically start to warn you that you're running out, and they would prompt you to potentially start to subscribe to a monthly subscription. That's when you would start to pay anywhere between $1.30 to $2 a month to start to expand the storage that you have available in the cloud. A few things to note about cloud storage apps. You normally have to sign up for an account, and some accounts are exclusive to the devices that you're using. As an example, iCloud is only available on Apple products, whereas Microsoft OneDrive and Google Drive would be available to anybody that has a Microsoft or Google account. One way to think about cloud storage apps is to consider it like an online filing cabinet. Instead of it being a real filing cabinet that holds onto your physical files, this one is only available to you when you're connected to the internet, and you can keep your photos, your documents such as PDF files, Word files, Excel spreadsheets, even your music and your video files that you create with your smartphone. There are several benefits of using the cloud to store your digital files. For instance, accessibility is one of the primary reasons why I would advocate for it to just about every user. Because of the cloud, we can put our photos, documents, videos, and other such multimedia in the cloud storage solution of our choice. For instance, it could be iCloud, Google Drive, or OneDrive by Microsoft. And as long as I have a connection to the internet and one of my personal devices, I would be able to access the digital information anywhere in the world. As an example of accessibility, here is the OneDrive app. On the left, you can see it's installed on a smartphone, and on the right, you can see we are accessing OneDrive through the website on a laptop. If the smartphone were in Ontario and the laptop were in Florida, we would be able to see the same information on both screens because we are looking at the same cloud storage location on the internet, which is being provided by Microsoft OneDrive. If I were to add a file on the smartphone, automatically on the laptop you would see that file, and if I removed a file from the laptop screen, you would see the file also be removed on the smartphone. It's completely synchronized over the internet. The next benefit of using the cloud to store your digital files that I wanted to highlight is the element of safety that it creates. When you keep a copy of your files in the cloud, they are safe from physical harm because they are being stored off-site. When we're using cloud storage apps, as mentioned before, we are keeping a copy of our files on a big tech company's computer systems that are available to us via the internet. That means if there's something that happens at home to my physical computer, the copy of my digital files that I'm storing in the cloud storage app is safe and sound. To illustrate this point about safety, consider this example of a laptop, which could be a smartphone or a tablet very easily, uploading a file to the cloud. Once that upload has happened, there is a copy that has been moved onto the internet from the device. Now, if something happens in the environment where the device is held, for instance, there's a flood in the basement and the laptop gets destroyed, the copy of the file that's already been uploaded to the cloud isn't touched and is safe and ready for downloading on another device, whether it's a phone or a new laptop. After safety, the next benefit of using the cloud to hang on to our digital files is space saving. After you take the time to upload your file to the cloud, you can sometimes delete the file from the hard drive of your device, which would free up the space. I do put an asterisk on this benefit because for some of the cloud storage solutions, it doesn't quite work this way. For example, if you're using iCloud on your iPhone or your iPad and you delete a file from the hard drive of the device that has been backed up to iCloud, it would also delete the backup from iCloud because both of those files are directly synchronized. To exemplify this space-saving point, let's look at this example with Google Drive. You can notice on this tablet app that I'm showing you here that there is a plus sign in the top left corner, and that's going to allow me to create a new folder or to upload a file to the cloud storage app. After tapping the plus symbol, I can see the different options that I have. For this particular example, we're going to upload a photo. Once upload has been selected, it now gives me the different places that are available on my tablet to upload from. You can see them listed along the top of the screen. They include Gallery, My Files, OneDrive, and a number of other options. Because I want to send a copy of a photo that I have on the hard drive of this tablet to my Google Drive cloud storage app, I'm going to select the Gallery app, which contains all of my photos and videos. Once I'm looking at the Gallery app, I can simply select the few images that I would like to upload to the cloud just by tapping on them. After I see the check mark in the top left corner, I know I'm ready to go, and I can push the Done button in the top right corner. As the photos are uploading, you will notice a spinning circle on the left-hand side of the file name, and it will stop spinning when the file is finished uploading. For each file that has been uploaded, we now see that there are 3 dots on the far right side of the screen attributed to each individual file. If I tap on that, a menu of options will pop up for that particular file. You can see in this example, when I tapped on the 3 dots on the right-hand side of one of the images that we just uploaded, a large list of options pops up, which includes rename and download, to name a few. We can also remove the file from our Google Drive storage app if we wanted to, using the Remove button at the bottom of this list. Once these files have been uploaded to Google Drive, I should feel free to delete them from the hard drive of my tablet because the cloud has a backup all ready to go. The final benefit that I'll highlight for using the cloud to store your digital files is the ease of use when it comes to sharing those files that are stored in the cloud. You can easily share links to your photos or your documents with other people as long as you're willing to share access to those online folders with them. I also have an asterisk associated with this benefit because, once again, depending on the cloud storage app that you're using will determine how easily and openly you can share those files with other users. For example, once again, referring to Apple iPad and iPhone, if you're using the iCloud storage app, you can only easily share access to those folders with other Apple users. However, if using Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive, you could easily share those folders with anyone via email. To show you how easy it is to share files from the cloud with other people, we're going to return to our Google Drive example, but this time we'll be using it on an iPad instead of an Android tablet. You'll notice that the addition symbol, or the plus sign, is in a new location on the iPad. It's in the bottom right corner instead of being in the top left-hand corner. That's just a small difference in the design of the app based on accessing it on 2 different types of devices, Apple and Android. After I tap on that addition symbol, the menu for what I can do with that button pops up automatically. You can see I can upload a file, I can take a photo, I can also create a folder, which is exactly what we're going to do for this example. After tapping on Create a Folder, I'm automatically in the position to give the folder a new name. In this situation, I called it Photos, and after I've given it the name, I'm ready to tap on the Create button. Once the folder has been created, it is displayed in the My Drive screen that we see here on Google Drive. Next, I can pick the files that I would like to add to that folder simply by pressing and holding on one of the files, and then once it's selected, I can quickly tap on any following files and it will add a check mark to those ones as well. From here, I'm ready to move any of the files that I have added the blue check mark to by tapping on the little folder icon in the top right corner that has an arrow pointing to the right. This is the Move button. Once I've tapped the Move button, it gives me the option to select the destination where I would like to move those files to. In this situation, I want to tap on the My Drive option because that will give me access to the new Photos folder that I just created. As you can see, here is our directory that includes photos, so I'm going to give that a tap and that will move us to the next option. And from here, it tells us that the folder is empty, which makes a lot of sense because it's a brand new folder. So this is where we would like to move those photos. Let's push the Move Here button in the bottom right-hand corner. From here, Google Drive wants to confirm that you'd like to move these 3 files. Simply tap on the Move button one more time. We have now successfully moved the 3 photos into the newly created Photos folder. The next thing we need to do is share access with other users to that new Photos folder that we've created. Step 1 to completing that is pressing the 3 dots on the right-hand side of the screen in alignment with the Photos folder. That's going to pop up the menu that's specific to that particular item in our Google Drive. From here, we will have the Share option at the top of the list. Once I've tapped on Share, I'm now in a position to start to type the person's email address. Once you've typed in the person's address, you should see the word Editor listed below it. Tap on that to see other options that are available. I recommend, if you'd like to remove any control from the people sharing the folder with you, which means stop them from deleting it, I would make everybody a viewer. That would let them look at the file, but it wouldn't let them modify it in any permanent way. After you've done that and you push the little paper airplane button in the bottom right-hand corner of the share window, you have now shared access with that person. Aside from the numerous benefits that cloud storage apps create for us, it's important to remember that we shouldn't be putting important secret information in the cloud. I don't know what you would deem a secret, but you need to determine whether or not you would be okay if somebody did in fact get access to the information kept there, just in case. If you're wondering what things you should avoid adding to the cloud, here are some ideas for your consideration. First, personal identification numbers. Anything like a social insurance number, a driver's license number, any passport information, I would not want to put there, just in case somebody was able to get access to it. I also wouldn't want to have any financial information that I deemed secret or important left in the cloud. For instance, bank account details, credit card numbers, financial statements, anything that you would deem a secret that you wouldn't want others to access, please avoid putting that anywhere on the internet. This also includes login credentials and passwords. We shouldn't have a file in the cloud called passwords where we're recording all of the different username passwords, security questions, the answers to them for safekeeping. That is not a good place to keep that sort of information, because if somebody did access it, then they would have access to just about all of your other online accounts without much issue. Medical and health records are also considered important secrets by some. Medical history, prescription information, even your insurance details, if they were learned by a scammer, they could be used against you, perhaps in some sort of an identity theft situation. I would also be keeping my legal and tax documents off of my cloud storage, whether that be intimate contracts, wills, power of attorney, even my tax returns. I definitely don't want all of those very intimate financial details available to anybody else, so I would keep that off of the internet, which includes the cloud storage apps that I'm using. Last but not least, if you have private photos and videos, do be sure that you keep those off of the cloud, just in case. As we wrap up this video tutorial, I thought it was important to circle back around and talk about where our files are actually being stored when we upload them to a cloud storage app. Big tech companies own what's called a data server farm, and they are physical locations where our digital files are being stored. Think of it like a large room that's totally secure, it's in a secret location, and it's 100% locked down so that nobody is able to access any of the files that are stored by the various users. If somebody were to walk into the room storing all of this equipment, They would not be able to access any of the files being stored there because of the encryption that is put on all of our digital files that locks them tightly so nobody is able to read them. To better understand encryption, please consider the following example. First, we start with our original data. Imagine you have a file on your computer, like a photo or a document. It looks like a picture or it looks like a PDF file when you're looking at it on your device. Then, when we add or upload that file to the cloud, the encryption process happens. And when the file gets encrypted, it becomes completely scrambled and it looks like a mess of characters that nobody can understand. Nobody except the person with the key or the person with the password that will let them into the cloud storage app. So once you've entered the key, it unscrambles the mess and it puts it back into the original order so that the file can now be reviewed again. Decryption is when you enter the key and all of those scrambled pieces of data return to their original position and the file is once again readable. With this short explanation, I do hope that you understand encryption a little bit better. And that's all for this video tutorial. I hope that it was valuable. On behalf of the Brain Injury Association of Waterloo-Wellington and Tech Coaches, all the best on your digital literacy journey.